welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. We're here with somebody a little bit special, two people a little bit special. This changed on me last minute. We are here with Justin and Greg, who, to those who don't know, are social media tycoons.
Tycoons. I think tycoons make money.
First time I've been called a tycoon before
yeah,
that
that's nice.
wasn't playing.
I love railroad tycoons.
Yeah.
We get called tycoons in the deck industry. We don't make any money either, so we can share this boat.
On decking or podcasting.
Oh, right. Good.
Podcasting's costing us money right now, actually. Anyway, Justin and
Industry
Greg
leaders.
are here to talk to us today a little bit about how to market your business, pick up more clients, increase your close rate. Something a little bit different, a little departure from our typical podcast here, but I think this will be extremely interesting.
We'll have fun. Yeah, we'll tell some good stories. And
You'll
we'll have
laugh,
a good time.
maybe a little.
Yeah. If you're local, you've heard of these guys, probably. If you're from Las Vegas,
You've heard of them.
you maybe have heard of them.
Yeah, I think so.
You guys travel?
But if you've just gone to a deck show in Vegas, you maybe haven't heard of us.
Maybe. You know what? The deck show is in Vegas in 4 weeks.
As it should be.
You guys should come.
Wait a minute,
the
we
Golden Knights.
might be there in 4 weeks.
February,
No,
what
that's
is
too
it?
soon.
18th
Boy, that would
to
line
the
up
22nd.
Oh, actually, we might be.
Yeah. We're just waiting on the premiere.
Let's make this happen.
His schedule. So, yeah.
Anyway, tell us a little bit about you guys, because not everybody knows who you are, not for any lack of your own doing, but these guys are
We
contractors.
started
from all
out
over.
as Pigeon Social, two guys who had ad agency backgrounds, came together to start doing like marketing consulting. A lot of it was online based.
Yeah.
Most of it was online based. And then it kind of spoiled and turned into Justin and Greg content creators.
Yeah, we worked with businesses in the social media world primarily because there's just such an opportunity for attention there, and we loved it, and we loved making content. And then we ended up starting the show and fell in love with the show, and then kind of do that full time. We've had, Rural Uber did 10 million views. Other videos done millions of views, and we just make fun content online. But at the same time, using our marketing hats so that we're not just making content, we start movements as well for our entire province to adopt the Vegas Golden Knights, and they're now in on it. And Jimmy Fallon, we were just in New York,
Like the province is in on it, and the Knights are in on it.
Well, the Knights love
so,
it. They can't get enough of it.
We've got an official statement from them saying they're all in. We get to hang out with the players.
We actually got a random text from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend that said basically there's something coming from Ottawa, from the MPs in Ottawa about that campaign. So we're still waiting for the video to come through, but
Crazy.
Yeah, hang out with our buddy Jimmy Fallon in New York. Not really, but we managed to work our way into a private tour of the Tonight Show, get him Experience Regina t-shirts, but we just like to have fun. So we use marketing plus social to make dumb videos on the internet.
and I will clarify that we have worked with, National Crown Corps, insurance, agriculture, like you name the industry, and we've got some sort of experience in that. And that's why a lot of what we talk about is it's high level marketing, like tactics that work as a whole based on
Even the
behavior.
Ultimate Deck Shop. You worked at the Ultimate Deck Shop a little bit, which probably I would have to think is page one of your portfolio.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like, it's a big page, and you're on there somewhere.
You just have a longer page than most people do, right?
It's a one-page website. It's a very long one-page
Hang
website.
my hat on that one.
Yeah.
So who's Justin, who's Greg? Tell me a little bit more about your personal lives. Let people know you a little bit here.
I'm Greg. What am I, 33 years old?
Oh, man.
I'm born in New Brunswick, grew up in Calgary. I now married a woman from Regina, so I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan.
There you go.
Got a 2-year-old daughter. Love the Boston Red Sox.
Holy.
Love the Vegas Golden Knights. In my spare time, I like to be alone. I'm an introvert to recover, so I want to read books and not talk to anyone. That was my birthday, actually. I just was still celebrating it. The greatest birthday I had this past year was me by myself watching a movie. With
How many birthdays did you have this year?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Just one. Just one.
I have a biannual birthday. I try really hard to have one on the 6-month mark as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
Some people have a birthday week, but like mine is in.
Twice a year. It's
Well,
nice.
just in case. Just in
You
case the
never
other
know,
one's a dud. yeah.
right?
No, I had an afternoon, but it was me, a pint, and a pizza and a movie by myself. And I'm like, this is euphoric.
That sounds like a good night.
That's a good word.
A good afternoon, actually, yeah.
I'm Justin. I turn 32 tomorrow, actually. I quit my last job 4 and a bit years ago. I had an option to become a partner in an advertising agency, and then I quit and did my own thing, and that was the best decision I ever made because we're having fun. And I've got 3 kids and a wife, and we do this. And when I'm not doing this, I'm making other videos on the side for fun. And I love getting in front of a big crowd.
And that's stepping away from the ad agency when you're right at the edge of being able to go into it, right? And it's like, you've done this sure thing. Now you're going to be part of the ownership of this business, and to actually just completely back away from that and go out on your own. Like,
It was
Talk
funny.
about stones.
It was funny to come in. I basically read a book on. I was feeling like weird about it, and then on Sunday, I read a book that a friend had been recommending, and it was basically talking about exactly what I wanted to do. And Monday, I quit. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I couldn't do what I was doing. Awesome. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, man. That's empowering. Good for you. So, how'd you guys end up?
Funny.
Like married in Vegas, I assume.
Well, I mean,
How did you
Almost
meet?
that kind
Tell
of
me the
whirlwind.
story.
Well, we were essentially strangers when we started our Facebook Live show together. Like I had met Justin, I think it was a total of 4 times where we did our first Facebook Live show. And after the second episode, which was a weekly, we did one a week. Second episode, he said, you should quit your job and come work with me. My wife was on mat leave. We had just had our daughter. She was like a month or 2 old. And he was like, quit your job. I'm a stranger. Come trust me and come start this business. And at that point in my life, I was ready for something new. I realized that, you know what, it's now or never. I mean, I have all this change in my life. I might as well just keep going with change. And so I quit to start a business with a stranger. And that has never been more true, where we're finding things about each other every day. We're like, oh, this is how you deal with stress. Good to know.
Yeah.
But I'm 2 years into it now. So
Everybody's got a story about that. You left Look Matters, correct?
Yep.
Which is local. And you left, were you with Brown right before you did this? Okay, cool. So two pretty established, known, successful agencies in town, and you walked away to do your own thing. You guys have been killing it, though, honestly, for the last, what do you mean, it's a couple of years now?
it'll be 2 years next month, I guess, officially.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, with the
Justin and
business.
Greg since 2 years November.
Yeah.
December.
Yeah. So just over 2 years. It's wild because a lot has happened in 2 years.
Yeah, we won't so much of what's happened to us though hasn't been, people look at it and go, wow, you probably thought about that. So for example, we created the intro video to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final that was played in Vegas for the Cup Final. They all came out to it. The players watched our video in the locker room before they came out. We didn't plan that. Like a lot of what we do is we react to situations and just, how can we make the most of this? Well, let's just go this way and see what happens there.
Which I think is a lot of the best ideas. I mean, you can have good plans, you can do all that, but especially when it comes to social or anything on the internet, taking something that is happening and then building upon that gives you an immediate leg up over trying to make your own thing happen.
Rather than trying to create the platform, right? Or the space or the idea. Just, it's there, build on it, right?
Yeah.
Snowball.
I like the reference to the Vegas Knights playoff video, because I think if anybody's seen you in the States that's listening to this, they might go back to it and be like, oh, I remember I watched the Stanley Cup Finals and I saw it. Who knew that these guys would end up on the best podcast in the world?
It was bizarre for us. But it speaks to what Justin and Greg is all about for us, is to say that in the internet age, you should be able to have an impact on the world from wherever you're from. And you guys know that because you have an impact on your industry from right in Regina. And we're the same way, where we go, well, just because we're from Regina doesn't, we're still people and we're creative and we've got talent. So why should it limit us where we're from? And that's kind of what we've been trying to do.
I think the secret is you just have to do a lot of stuff. Like there are people who, they see like Roll Uber, okay, 10 million views, but we have no big deal. We have a lot of videos that did almost 10 views. There was a lot of bad videos.
That's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, 10 views. A lot. And that's a funny video because that video, we planned it in 30 minutes, shot it in 30 minutes, edited in 30 minutes, and then posted it. So it was about 90 minutes total time, and it did 10 million views. And the CEO of Uber watched it and thought it was funny.
It is funny.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a good one, right? So being from rural Saskatchewan, the directions in that video are like spot on. Drive to the barn, turn left, go past the scarecrow.
We like my father-in-law. He's a farmer, and so he actually helped us out with some of the lines of like, "Hey, you should put one about where the dead skunk was last year in there because that's a real thing." And sure enough, you were like, "Hey, that's my life," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
100%.
Past the washboard that Karen hit last summer after a high school party. The washboard.
Yeah.
Much washboard.
We were laughing because the comedian in Canada, Jerry D, made this video he was promoting, there's like the Women's Canadian Hockey League, I think it is, their all-star game. And so he did a video promoting it by just like roasting them, like making fun of them, not being good. But obviously they were all in on it and it was very sarcastic. But people who weren't his audience got a hold of the video and they were tearing him apart online.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where that video was intended for his audience, and when it got outside of his audience, they didn't get it. Well, it reminded us of the time where we tried to make a video with Jerry D about welcoming him to the city and promoting the fact he was coming to the city, but he didn't know us and didn't get it and called security on us. So like you have some wins
True story.
and you have some losses at the same time, and so we walked in and
know your audience, know who you're speaking to.
He's coming back here pretty soon.
Yeah, he is.
Are you guys on a blacklist of sorts? Or
well, I don't know.
Yeah, he might go around around him this time to have a friend endorse us to get him on the show. But
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Good. Well, let's kind of jump into, the point of bringing you guys in here today is because contractors out there, they're typically, well, I shouldn't say all of them. There's some junk ones out there, but there's a lot. The guys who are listening to this podcast, of course, are great craftsmen. They know how to get out there and they know how to build a deck, or some of them are building kitchens or whatever, building houses. They're great at their craft. What a lot of them struggle with is the business aspect of it. They can hire a bookkeeper, no problem. Most of them do, or they have a family member doing the bookkeeping for them. But the marketing side of the gig is always tough for them. How do they get more leads? How do they close more leads? How do they just kind of build a rapport with an industry that has a bit of a Band-Aid over top of it in people's minds, because everybody knows somebody who's been burnt by a contractor. So the point of bringing you guys in is like, let's help these guys kind of get the ball rolling on some common sense things they can do to get more business. Some things they can manage themselves, or give them the direction of where they can get some help, right? So the first question I wanted to go with is kind of to step back away from where we've gone so far, is to talk about traditional media and whether you guys think that there's any value in traditional media for small outfits, because it's generally expensive, especially for small operations. Is there any way that these guys can use traditional media?
I mean, I'm not going to say no, because anything can be a solution in the right environment. Like here in Saskatchewan, in these small towns, Saskatoon and Regina, their radio is actually quite strong for this region, but in a lot of places it's not. But when it comes to like small businesses and shops, like social media can be so effective because it's cost effective. You can target your audience very, very easily. But again, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast have tried that and failed. Like, it's not just because it's cheap and easy doesn't make it necessarily effective. And so you got to know what you're doing to be good at anything.
Yeah, just creating just any random sort of like blog or post and then pushing the boost button is not like that's ineffective, right?
That is in many cases now just throwing away money. And people don't realize how things that worked on Facebook that sometimes you even learned about, they're 2 years old, just they're completely useless now, but they were then. And that's maybe the toughest thing with the new social space is it changes so fast. And for a lot of people, I think even ourselves, is we weren't kids when Facebook was around, and for a lot of people still running businesses is they're comfortable with TV and radio and print and billboards because that's what they grew up with and they understand it. And the new world can be very weird because, they don't understand it. The problem with traditional media, or the challenge that can also be effective, is it is very broad and it's hard to actually find the specific people that you want to talk to. Whereas on social, you can get very, very much targeted. And so you are paying because you are reaching so many people through TV or through a billboard or through some of these other areas, which can be great if you have a very broad message. But if you have a very specific message, then, that ends up being a challenge. And like you said, it's expensive because you're buying so many impressions, where if you can actually figure out who you want to talk to on Facebook, you can target down to 18 people and get the message in front of the 18 right people.
And there's a reality there too that people need to recognize, that just because magazines or billboards or TV worked 20 years ago, it's actually not the same thing. Like the media landscape is so fractured now. Justin used the example of, I think when MASH was like at its peak season finale, like 100 million people tuned in to watch.
It was like 120 million people.
And now the biggest show on TV is Big Bang Theory, and that's like 20 million people. And so you don't actually have the same eyeballs, but you're guaranteed paying the same cost as you used to, if not substantially more.
If not more.
Yeah, and
right?
the other thing that you don't know, which you can have this exact same thing happen on social or digital advertising, is somebody even watching the commercial? Because, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not looking forward to the commercial break or hoping that when I'm watching a video on TSN on their website, hoping that they serve me 4 more ads before I get to watch my video. Like, we don't want to be advertised to.
There's for sure a bit of a gap between what registers as a view or a listen and what people are registering in their minds, right? You can hear it, but you're not listening to it. And I feel like radio sums that up for me. I know we've done some radio advertising. For sure, people are hearing it. The radio's on, but are they actually listening to the message that's coming out the other end?
It works for sure, because we have people that walk in the store and they're like, heard your ad on the radio, right?
Some do, yeah.
The amount of money we spent to get those 5 people to come in the store, it was a lot.
Right.
ROI, old-fashioned ROI, if you will, right?
Let's say we're talking about small operation. We got a budget of $5,000 to $10,000 to spend on traditional media. Let's leave social for later because I got 9 more questions about social. $5,000 to $10,000 that you're going to spend on traditional media. Where do you put it?
Yeah, again, like for me, it depends on the market. But But I mean,
as a contractor,
depending on like if the creative is awesome too, like they can have a huge impact. Like I've seen billboards that have stopped me on my tracks, but like that's hilarious. You have all my attention now. Or a well-timed bus ad. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it can be effective.
For me, I was going to say I'd spend most of it on the creative, whatever the creative means. But the thing is the radio ads that I listen to are the ones where it's not somebody telling me about their products and services for a full 30 seconds, which is what a lot of businesses do. Is they go, I bought an ad in the newspaper, I've got a billboard, I'm going to tell people about what I do. The problem is, I don't care. Mm-hmm. As opposed to the best billboards that stop you in the track, or around here we have like cow count ads. I'm always listening because there's a gimmick in it. It's fun. ReginaJobShop.ca. There are these commercials that I know I'm going to laugh, that I turn down all the other commercials, and then when I hear that one coming on, I want to hear what the gimmick is, or what the funny bit is, or what it is, or in the newspaper ad, or in the, like, just, we have this idea that if I buy a 30-second TV spot or radio spot or a billboard, people are all indebted to listen to that. And it's like, no, I don't have to listen to the TV commercial. I don't have to watch it. I can pull out my phone. Even, the problem with billboards is, every passenger and half the drivers are on their phones while they're driving around. Like the attention, it's not the same level of attention, but just because you run a 30-second ad doesn't mean anybody's going to listen to 30 seconds of the ad. Or they might listen for the first 3 seconds and go, oh, this is just an ad, and either turn down the volume or just tune out mentally. And maybe they're subliminally, but
when you buy traditional media, a lot of people feel entitled to the results of that. And it's, if you buy traditional media, you're actually just getting a ticket to the game. But then you have to earn people's trust and attention through the creative. And if you can't do that, then you're still going to make sales because people will hear the message and walk in. The gap is, like, it can be way more effective if you can actually catch someone's attention and get them coming back to you.
So spend the money on creative. If you're going to do it, fine, do it. But make sure that
be interesting.
What you put there is good, right?
And the funny thing is, this is kind of related to social, but we have friends that run a very serious social media marketing agency. But the thing about social is you get the data back on what's working and what's not working. The funny thing is, for generating leads, in all the research and all the data they get back, the creative that none of us would ever pick, that we look at and go, that's not nice, it looks terrible, looks trashy, it doesn't, that is the stuff that performs.
That's what resonates with people, right?
Yeah, and it's like, it becomes relatable, and the science of it is it feels much more than when you've got really pretty creative. So we're not saying don't spend money on like the best designed or the most polished or having this squeaky clean brand and that. No, spend money on being interesting in some kind of way. Make yourself memorable in a way that you can believe in as a brand. And it comes back to who you are. Is you need to be polarizing. If there's not people who don't like you, there's nobody who loves you. And you need to find a way where you're not trying to please and impress everyone and have everybody like you. You are going to lose that way. Instead, go, this is who I am. I'm going to stand for this. And I'm not afraid to piss a few people off in order to be able to be awesome to all these people who are going to be my brand champions.
That's a great message, I think, for today's world out there. There's people that get offended over nothing nowadays. So you cannot.
Literally.
No, that's not true. No way that's true.
I can't believe you said that. That's not true. You can't say that.
Yeah. I'm offended by that statement, actually.
How dare you?
So my question was a little bit leading in the fact that, and of course we right away go to traditional media in the sense of radio and TV and et cetera, et cetera. But for contractors, what contractors still get a lot of value out of for a very little amount of dollars is putting some sort of attractive wrap on their trailer, trucks, lawn signs, canvass the neighborhoods, talk to the neighbors that you're working in. We've seen some guys that have gone out there and printed up letterheads that have gone to the 10 houses to the right of the house I'm working at, and the 10 houses to the left of the house I'm working at. And it's just a simple message that says, hi, my name is Select Dex did this. James from Select Dex. Just to let you know, we're working in your neighborhood. We apologize if our trucks and trailers or any of our construction mess, whatever happens to inconvenience you in your home. If you have any troubles whatsoever, please give me a text at this number, blah, blah. What a genius way to come across as being like, I'm here. We all know that
he's advertising.
He's advertising, for sure.
Right? He's going to pick up jobs for sure. But the position of taking just an honest, good-hearted man who's just saying, like, I don't want to inconvenience you. I'm a good person. Who are they going to call if they need a deck, right?
They're going to phone that guy.
And an invitation, I've seen their letters too, to say an invitation to stop in at the backyard and work in. If you want to see how this goes, come say hi.
Well, and great. Even better, I'm like, the way I would spend my traditional money in that sense too would be, we're really sorry for the inconvenience. Here's a small token, and throw a $5 Tim Hortons gift card in there. Times that by 10. And it's crazy. I mean, we've all seen what people will share on Facebook to win a $2 prize, like 1,000 shares. But a little thing like that where you go, hey, go buy $25 gift cards. It's going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
You're going to put that in all the mailboxes, and they're like, nobody does that.
Yeah.
And that is such a small little thing to say, hey, we're in the neighborhood. We know it's inconvenient. Coffee's on us. If you haven't, but the feeling that gives, and that's what we love, is we love feelings. You want to give somebody a feeling rather than just like, hey, a message or it's nice or tell them about just a sale or information. Give them a feeling.
Yeah, so I go and say that these guys, if I'm that homeowner, they care about me. I mean, even if they're lying, if they're giving me the impression that they're caring about me,
Absolutely.
I have their number. I can go see the stuff. Like, to me, I know who you are now, and I'm aware of it. I might have not even noticed you before.
Yeah.
Traditional marketing is all lying anyways, right? You hear a company on radio and they're like, we have the best customer service. Everybody that has ever ran an ad on radio or TV has the best customer service.
Yeah, but we actually do.
We do. We don't say it though.
I'm not going to pin that just on traditional media. That's every bit of marketing. It doesn't matter.
It's like marketing 101. Page 1. Tell everybody how good your customer
what are your
service
values?
is.
Your values are you're trustworthy, you're respectful, you're hardworking, you're all those things.
I guarantee you, if everybody listening to this podcast actually had done the branding exercise, they would go, oh, what are our core values? Oh yeah, integrity, respect, trust, honesty. Like, it's all the same, and every single contractor has those values, but living them is a completely different thing.
That's right. Yeah. So I think that's a great way to spend. Like, we're talking about $5,000. Do that 50 times. You build 50 decks a year. You do that little $100 exercise 50 times that year.
Or what about taking care of the customers you already have? It's like you have your customers' information each year at Christmas or twice a year. Send them a letter with the $5 Tim Hortons gift card, just saying, "Hey, thank you. We really value you as a customer. If you ever have anybody who needs a deck, let us know." Anyway, here's a small thank you for being a customer. Throw something in there like that
because you can never spend enough to get to the value the referral has.
Absolutely,
right? You can never spend that amount. The referrals are the biggest in any industry, but especially with contractors where there is trust issues. So you're going to hire somebody that you know personally has experience with and has a good word to say about them. So
well, and the other thing too about referrals, that is why everything matters with a referral, is price isn't the same concern with a referral. Because if I don't know you, I'm looking at quotes. But if somebody says, oh, Shane and Wade from the Ultimate Deck Shop are the best, they're so good to work with, you can trust them.
Yep.
When you give them a quote, they go, so-and-so said I could trust you, so I'm trusting that this quote is
100%.
good.
We touched on that a little bit on a previous podcast, how that referral has instantly given you it's given you almost loyalty before you ever earned it.
Absolutely, it is.
Right?
Yeah. It's shared
Maybe I shouldn't
loyalty.
say that. You've earned it somewhere else.
But we've said at that point, it's then your job to lose.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's not, you're not now fighting to win it. You just have to keep it.
And hopefully the person who referred them to you also knows you guys and isn't going to send you somebody that's, you can have bad customers too.
That's
but
right,
the referral goes both ways.
Have people looking out for your back too. Yeah, don't go see them. I wouldn't wish you on my worst enemy.
Pick a box store. There you go.
Exactly.
Home Depot's great. So let's get into the social stuff because that's where this podcast is going to shine. It's 2019 now. So what platforms is it?
Crazy.
We're 9, 10, 11.
No, you're right.
By the time this airs, a couple weeks into 2019. So this thing changes fast, like you said, but there's a couple of mainstay platforms that are out there that are killing it right now. Where should these
Twitter,
guys be?
Facebook, Instagram, they need to find out where's your audience, right? Go where your people are. If you're building decks for 15-year-olds, well, then you probably should be on Snapchat. I'm sure you're not building decks for 15-year-olds, but you've got a huge following on Instagram, right? There's people there. When it comes to advertising, we always put people back to Facebook because Facebook's ad platform is just so deep, and there's 2+ billion people on the platform that it makes it very, very easy to get your message across to the right people. That doesn't mean the results are easy. It just means it's easy to get in front of the audience, hopefully, that you're looking for.
So do you think that Facebook also has an older demographic?
Yeah,
so
it
we're
does.
talking about doing, for us, Shane and I talk often about focusing a lot on the renovation side of the industry, right? New builds are great, but new builds usually people are struggling to put a deck on, or the home builder has done that, right? So that's a relationship created outside of it. Facebook has a little bit older demographic, easier to advertise in front of those people because they're used to seeing traditional marketing. So they may read an ad that you put on there.
Yeah, and I imagine for you guys, you probably 25 and under is not your typical customer.
It wouldn't be our typical customer. No, throughout the industry, I shouldn't say it's well known, but the female of the household makes decisions on the household as far as when it comes to renovations and repairs, right? Yeah. And so we've always looked at Facebook as an attractive platform because it skews very well there at 45-year-old wives.
Absolutely,
right? And I'm not trying to be impartial or biased. That's just the facts. That's the data, right? So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, female strong present on Facebook, as well as, I mean, Instagram's owned by Facebook, and it's kind of an extension of it. But yeah, I mean, the fastest growing segments on there are the older demographics, and the kids are leaving Facebook because their grandparents are coming on and posting things they don't agree with and they don't want to be associated with. But typically, everybody's on Facebook. Not everybody, but typically kind of almost 25 and up, but certainly like 30 and up. That's the strongest thing. And Facebook gives you so much data about the people to a fault, in some ways that they get themselves in trouble, but you can really build a lot of different audiences. The thing about Facebook is the boost button is not your friend. And a big part of the reason why the boost button is not your friend is because Facebook can take your ad and they can show it in a lot of different places that aren't even on Facebook. So they can take your ad and put it into a website post that you're reading somewhere as an ad, just like in the middle of content somewhere else. And they can put it all sorts where it kind of becomes like a banner ad. If you guys remember like old banner ads, even videos, they'll play the videos on a different site completely. And you want to be able to control and keep, especially if you're doing video, which video is absolutely king on anything on a social platform, especially for advertising. You want to keep those videos in Facebook as much as you can. But the biggest thing about it is if you're going to advertise in Facebook, it's not expensive to advertise in Facebook if you know what you're doing. Most people don't know what they're doing. And so it can be really expensive.
And that's a really good point too about just the social platforms. And they change so fast and they're always evolving. And so when someone talks to you about what happened last year, what they did last year, that's actually quite irrelevant to you. And so if you're working on social, find someone who actually is in it all the time and I can point you in the right direction to help you out with that. And I'll tell you this, a lot of the agencies, they're too big to actually have a full-time social person to actually know what they're doing on there. So you might have to look at a more niche person to help you out with that because that's the reality.
I mean, the other thing too is like, the best thing you could do for your business, if you could actually convince yourself to do this, is to spend $200 on an online course on Facebook ads and to take a weekend and learn it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the guys that have invested the time to listen to us ramble on, they're invested in their business, right? They're listening to podcasts, they're watching shows, they're listening to audiobooks while they drive. Like these guys are trying to grow their business. So yeah, an online course. Perfect.
Yeah, there's like, I bet even like lynda.com where you can learn anything. Yeah. There's starter ones on YouTube where you can get some of it for free and get to know the people who are teaching you because that's as much of it as anything. But taking 10 or 12 hours and learning the intricacies of it could make or break your business when you begin to understand how to target people because like we can spend $500 on an ad on Facebook. We just did it before. We got 100,000 views, 600 shares, like thousands and thousands of minutes of watch time because it was well targeted. It was a good piece of content that they enjoyed watching, and it had an absolutely massive impact. But we also could have spent $500 on the exact same piece of content and got nothing if we didn't know what we were doing.
I remember. So would it be 2 years ago that we hired you guys?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit of content for us, and then we ran an ad with you.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, I was absolutely floored when you guys came back and you showed us the analytics of it, right? And you broke it down. So I would be a perfect example of your typical contractor at that point because I had just left contracting. I was just into the store.
Right.
And you guys pulled that paper out and you were like, and then we showed it in front of these people and this is who watched it and this is how long they watched it. I was just like, holy smokes, right? So it's deep.
Yeah, and for your contractors, like Facebook allows email lists where you can upload your email list and target those people and actually create things called lookalike audiences where it'll take the demos of your email list and create another one in the same area. And you go, oh, I'm going to target these people now that are very, very similar. Like if you know what you're doing, it can really, really help you. And to your point, it takes some work.
Yeah, which is, the tough part, but it's one of those things where if you're going to run a successful business, either you need to hire someone to do it or you need to do it yourself.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's always like, you could be busier, like you could, everybody, you're probably not listening to this podcast if you're like, I have more work than I know what to do with. Yeah. Maybe. Because
some guys have that attitude, but it's the wrong attitude because there's no doubt that contracting work goes through ebbs and flows with the economy, right? And so when times are good, great, everybody's working. But a lot of guys make the mistake of stopping looking for work at that time and they lose that they lose their brand out in the market
and
at
the
that
funnel
point.
goes dry, and
And then it slows down, and all of a sudden you're like, well, why isn't the work coming in? It's like, well, nobody knows about you because you were silent for 6 years when the market was good.
Yeah.
So you got to keep on it, build that backlog. If you have a big backlog of jobs and you're booking 8 months out, it's time to make a little bit more money too, right? You can charge a little bit more if you've got the customers. It's certainly not a fixed and sewn thing. Your pricing can adjust with the amount of work that's coming in. It's simple supply and demand, right? So the next two questions we had for you guys are probably something we've touched on a little bit here, but is just creating the content and being like interesting enough, or do you think it's absolutely necessary to spend a little bit of money to kind of expand your reach? I was going to expand on that, but I think you can take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably both and, but I would never tell you not to spend money if you can do it, if you do it with the principles we've been talking about. But like the most important part is that you're interested in the creative is good, start from there. And if you do that, like we do it all the time, if we create a piece of content that is good, Facebook rewards us by letting us pay less. You can just describe what that. We pay a lot less for the ads that we push out, and way more people see it because the content's good.
Yeah, Facebook actually charges you a premium if people don't enjoy your ad. Because what they want is they want people to stay on Facebook and use it. That's their goal. And so if you're going to try and push out a crappy ad that people don't want to watch, which is going to provide a more negative experience on Facebook, Facebook charges you a premium.
Pay for it, sucker.
So when you are creating good content, they give you a score from 0 to 10. The higher your score is, the less they charge you. But the other thing, too, that people make the mistake of is they will put all their money equally. They go, I'm going to make 10 posts this month. I got, $1,000. I'm going to put $100 behind each post. Don't do that. What you do is you put out a post and you wait 8 hours and you see, are people liking, commenting, responding on it? And then put your money behind those ones. And you don't always know. So you're going to create 10 posts and 9 of them could be duds. But if one's really good, you'd be better off to put all $1,000 behind that one good one because it's going to reach way more people. People are going to enjoy it way more. It's going to be way more effective. And so you got to kind of treat it like that as going, they're not all going to hit, but have some creative ideas, try a bunch of different things. And when you find one that works, go all in on that one.
Have the courage to be willing to call a piece of content a dud. A lot of people go, I'm going to boost the stuff that's not working because I want people to see it. It's like, no, people don't want to see that. That's why it's not working. And go, okay, I need to try again on something better. Reward the things that are doing well, and then take that feedback and loop it into the next piece so that it even gets stronger as you go.
I think that the last 30 seconds I should probably replay 3 times in the middle of this podcast just to hit it home, because it's not the natural way that people are going to think, right? The natural way is I've put out a piece of content that I think is not bad, but it only got 7 views, so I better throw some money behind it because it is good. Yeah, I trust that it's good, right?
Well, I did it.
The people just haven't seen a
terrible one.
And there are lots
the
of times
opposite logic that works.
Yeah, we'll go, this video is going to crush. We put it out there and it just falls on deaf ears. We go, okay, we were wrong. And there's other times like the rural Uber one, we're like, this will do okay. And it destroyed all of our expectations.
Now, I do have to say, if you've got a smaller following, maybe you only have 200 or 300 people, because the algorithm decides how many people, you may get 25 people who see it and nothing really happens with that. If you're really small, you may not get enough people who actually watch and go, oh, that's good, to give the feedback to Facebook that it's a good post. So if your audience is small, you may have to go, well, put $10, don't put 100, put $10 behind it, push it out to your audience and their friends, and see if that gives you enough to be able to tell. Like, make sure at least a few hundred people have seen it, so it's not such a small data set, but keep the majority of your budget for when you see something that's really working.
Good info.
I remember when you guys told us that, or we talked about it, I don't know where it came from, but the idea was that you would boost something that was already doing well. It was like, my head exploded, right? Like, poof.
That's because you were drinking the night before. Your head is already exploding.
It was already pounding. Like, boom, boom.
Boom.
Yeah, just like a little pinprick on the side.
Yeah. The balloon is popped. So this is kind of an on-the-spot question, but I'll tell you what's happening out there right now for the majority of contractors. They do a job, they finish a job, they take a picture, they post that. That's about the level of effort that the average contractor is making right now.
Some guys have a drone. They'll fly it up, take a picture from up top. Those went well, right?
Those are good for now. So, but what kind of content should they be creating? Is like just taking a picture of the final project doesn't tell the whole story, right? Doesn't really tell anything about the contractor other than, well, they take good pictures or their work looks good from afar. What kind of content do you think people will really engage with? And because it's a deck podcast, let's say it's decks, not plumbing or something.
Yep. I mean, for me, the thing is I want to know that a contractor does good work. But more than that, I want to know that the contractor is going to do what they say they're going to do, and I'm going to enjoy having them around.
You want to know the contractor, right?
Because I mean, and maybe it's just me, but I don't think building a deck is like that difficult. Like it's a deck, you know. Now I know that the thing is, I know that it is. I know. No. Hold on.
Right there it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know that is not the case. Yeah. But generally, when you like, lots of people when they think of a deck, they think of like, I just need a wood deck, you know. But obviously, there's lots of ins and outs of it, and you're going to find that out when they can talk to you and you can explain to them the difference of your process and how you build it and how you do all those things. But what I want is I want to do business with a good person, not just a nice looking, great, you have a good looking deck, but everybody's different. Some people are, all they care about is a finished product and they don't care about the process. I'm a little different. I'm like, I want it to be 90% good, but I want to enjoy my experience and not be working with somebody who's a jerk, who's gruff, who I don't want to have my kids around, who I, you know, like in that process.
That's the thing, because with a lot of these projects, there's some exceptions, some guys that are doing some crazy stuff that's maybe beyond somebody's capacity. But for the most part, these decks, the level of craftsmanship can be built by a bunch of guys.
Right.
You know, all your competitors can probably build a good deck. But if we can use the analogy of buying, let's say you're going to go buy a new car, you want to buy a new, Ferrari. Let's say it's a really nice car you're going to drop a lot of money on. Do you want to buy it from the sleazy car sales guy that pushes it down your throat? Or do you want to buy it from the guy you establish a good rapport with, you have trust, you can ask questions, he's there to support you?
It's like you walk in.
In the end, you're getting the same result.
Yeah, and
but it's the experience during it.
Exactly. Showcase to me the process you're going to have for customer service. I hear stories about different contractors that wear booties indoors to keep the dust off. And that's a really small thing, but that means a lot to certain people. Like the more that you can showcase the fact that one, you're a good person, but two, you're going to look after me. And for me, I don't know. You may have guessed this. I'm not very handy with a lot of this stuff. I don't actually know it. So if you can talk to me and respect me as a real person, as opposed to talking down to me because I don't know how to use a drill and a hammer very well, that goes really far with me, right? Because I'm like, oh, you understand the fact that I'm not handy and that I'm hiring you and you're not holding it over me. You're coming along with me and going, okay, here's what I'm going to do. You're going to walk me through it. Like the more that you can take my defenses down and let me know that you're going to look after me, the better off I am.
And trusting that you might actually, if something goes wrong after the fact, take care of me. Because it's a big investment, right? Yep. And we all hear the story of, they were great, they came, did it, but then I had an issue and I never heard from them again. Once I got their money, they were out.
It can be pretty hard to, the trust and rapport thing is so important to build, and it can be pretty tough to do that in 30 minutes at the customer's home upon a first meeting.
Sure.
Right? And so if you even get invited there in the first place, so much of that can be taken care of by having an active feed, whether it's Instagram, wherever people are watching, wherever the attention is, that gives people confidence before they ever even meet you and gives them a reason to want to meet you because they've gained some confidence in you. I know that I had jobs that came straight off Instagram because they saw not only the finished product, but they saw me personally on it. They saw that when we were building the frame and doing the piles underneath that you don't ever see when the job's all done, that we were doing it properly.
Right.
We were taking an approach of teaching other people how to do it. So it's like, well, they're clearly know what they're doing. They're taking this approach of teaching. So much of that can be, and it's the same as having a referral from a friend, I think. If they come to you and be like, I've been following your Instagram for 2 years and I want to work with you. It's yours to lose.
They actually think you're a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They've been watching you for 2 years. They're like, they're my friends.
Yeah. And the other thing too, I would say is, we run into this. We have friends they work in insurance and they're not legally allowed to talk about really anything insurance-wise on the internet because it all depends. And well, what do we talk about? And it's like, whatever you care about or like. You like the Blue Jays or you like this thing is people want to find common ground.
Yep.
Right? And so you can be thinking I don't even know what to talk about. I don't have something right now that I can talk about. Is show a little bit of yourself, your personality, what you care about, to give people something to latch onto and grab onto, because it can get depending, you maybe do enough interesting jobs, Shane, but there could be somebody who's I got a string of 4 jobs over the next 6 weeks and they're not that exciting. What do I talk about or what do I do?
You know what? And I'm not building anymore, and I'm even personally struggling to find what to even put in content for my own feed now. I built this great following when I was building and I was posting and helping, and it was growing and growing, and then I stopped building and it's well, shoot, now what do I post? And I think you just kind of stalled, right? But I think
so. You picked a mustache,
and it crushed.
And it crushed.
A photo of a mustache.
Yeah,
it's very relatable.
I might just go down that path.
I think we should grow it out.
Yeah. But surprisingly, so you mentioned that I built some really cool things. I did, but the posts that did the best were not usually the final product portfolio. I mean, they did good if they were super amazing projects, whatever. But the ones that did the best were always the how-tos. It was the stuff that you would consider boring. It's the
contractor. You the contractor
would consider boring. How did you like how does this rain system install? Like to me, that's like a crappy part of the job. I don't enjoy it, but just showing the how that works, those always did so well. Numerous contractors I've talked to say that their posts that they get the best engagement with, the most likes, most comments, are the framing stage pictures. Before the pretty stuff even goes on, people like to know how it was built. What's underneath? How does this thing
Because that's where you don't get to see. Like,
and that's where you can learn yourself.
You see the deck and you're like, okay, I think I can figure out the top part, but I have no idea what's going on under that. Yeah. But I think the ultimate rule of social, if you do anything on social, is give more than you take. If you do that, you are going to do well on. Sure. Yeah, it's straight from Gary Vee. I just pretend like it's mine. But, that's a thank you, Connor. That's everything. But is so many people on there asking all the time, like, hey, buy my you're basically saying buy my product or service. You're advertising, but you're not giving anything of value to the people who follow you.
Yeah.
Focus on giving them a ton of value, building that long-term stuff. It'll work out okay.
Are there some tools you guys use that help you kind of manage social media a little bit for the guys who are busy quoting and building and doing all this stuff? Are there some tools out there that they can use to kind of make this process a little bit easier?
We don't use any other tools. There's lots out there. Like you can have a Hootsuite tool that can be free for a contractor that you can actually schedule out posts, that sort of stuff. But again, we live in it, right? So this is our job full time. So we don't need that. We're in it every day. If we can't put a post out, we have a real problem. But a lot of companies do. A lot of companies will like, hey, this is the best I can do right now. I'm going to schedule out my posts a couple weeks out, and then they do that. Yep. We prefer a mixture of both those things. Like be planned, but be spontaneous as well. Like always be trying to find the good content of like, hey, I landed on this mustache photo and it's crushing. Okay, well, that's a piece of data I can use for the next post.
And part of the reason why those tools I think sometimes can get in the way is people will schedule their posts and then people will respond to them, but they're busy because they weren't doing that when it's social media.
Yep.
The most important thing you can do on there is respond to every single comment, and you have this wonderful opportunity now in this social media world you didn't have before. You can build relationships with people without ever having met them in person, without them stepping foot in the door, picking up the phone and calling you. You can have conversations and they can get to know and trust you. And so posting in the moment is kind of the best thing, because if somebody responds, get right back in there. Be talking to them.
That's so crazy. My wife posted, she was having a conversation with somebody about an article of clothing or something, right? So they were going to send her clothing. She sent a question back to that lady and was like, whatever, when do you think you'll send it? 2.5 hours later, she responded, and like JJ was furious. It was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like we were talking, I'm engaging with you on your content, and all of a sudden you're gone.
Yeah.
For like half the day. You know.
Yeah, and the other side of that is we just went to New York and New York State and stayed with friends that we had never met before. They're all co-YouTubers. Yeah. We stayed at their house. We slept in their house, and for all I know, they could have been sociopaths, but they weren't, because we built this relationship through the internet.
Yeah. And there's a ton of trust. So the other thing too is pick one platform and do it well, as opposed to feeling like, oh, I need to be on Twitter, I need to be on Facebook, I need to be on Instagram, I need to be on YouTube, I need to be on Snapchat, I need to be on, because I see so-and-so who they don't realize has a team of 5 people helping them out on all these platforms. Is pick the one that or if you're not sure, just go on Facebook, actually learn what it's like to be a normal human being on Facebook, get into that, or Instagram. Those are 2 good platforms. Twitter's also great. Find one you gravitate towards, just do one well.
Yeah, at least get that one on your belt and get comfortable with it, right? Yeah. Spreading your eggs too thin.
Yeah, you just won't do a good job at any of them.
I've never spread my eggs too thin.
My eggs in one basket. Spread your eggs.
Just take them all of your cliches, and then just spread them too thin. Right? Well done.
We had some good ones that came up recently.
I buttered my eggs in the basket. You know what? Yeah, I found that Instagram buttered my eggs in the basket, and so that's what I went with.
This could be an entire podcast on modified cliches.
Exactly.
So let's say these people that we're talking about don't have the time, or the willingness, or they don't enjoy it, they don't want to do it, but they know that it's important for them to do.
Necessary evil, right?
Mm-hmm. What can a small agency like you guys do for them, and does it have to cost a lot of money? Because some of them are probably thinking I don't even know who to go to, what they can do for me, or what it's going to cost me.
No, there's people like us, so if we want to call ourselves social contractors, which in this case we're not, but there's people that are working in social that are all over the map. And like anything, when you work with someone, you need to find out what you're willing to pay, and are they good at what they do, and then go from there. Like the way you evaluate other businesses is the same way you should evaluate the people that are doing your social. And I would say that there are hard ad costs that are the same for everyone. Like if you're going to be advertising on Facebook, $100 here is $100 there, but people will charge you different dollars per hour. And if you're going to be paying less, it's probably someone less experienced than paying a bit more. And evaluate where that's going to work.
Because if you go to a big agency, they could charge you a lot of money, and not get the results. But the thing that you need to hold people accountable to is like, how many leads are we getting? Or like, you need to be able to feel a tangible impact and have them report that. What people oftentimes will try and do is say, oh, we got you this many impressions. Like, hey, 1 million people saw this. Or we got you 100,000 views on this. Well, you need to understand enough to go a little bit deeper. Okay, 100,000 views, how long were people watching for? And if they come back and saying, well, they averaged about 2 seconds view, it's like, well, that's not. Or if they're going, hey, you're 9, 10, 11 seconds. Or the best thing is, if you can connect it to an actual like funnel in some way, like your website, a contact us page, or something where you can actually see them clicking through and taking more actions. Don't let somebody just return to you these high-level, big numbers of millions of people. It's like, at the end of the day, they should be able to be accountable with today's tools to go, hey, we spent, $1,500. We got 73 people that clicked through to your website, and we can see that 21 people filled out your contact form or dialed your phone number. If they can't give that to you, they probably aren't advanced enough in this world. You should find somebody else.
Well, and like it's got to be regional and geographically relevant too, right? Like if somebody's in Las Vegas, getting 100 people to reply or watch that video that are actually from Las Vegas is better than 1 million that are from
good
Montreal.
Good quality lead.
It's got to be a qualified lead for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to touch on there?
I've got a quick one. So if you're in Facebook and it's telling you share this to Instagram, or you're in Instagram and it's saying share this to Facebook, how do you feel about that?
It's been a little bit since I tested that. The last time that I tested that, if you went on Facebook and you just checked the box to share it to Instagram, you would see about a 90% drop in engagement versus taking the extra 10 seconds to even copy and paste the same title and upload it directly in Facebook. It has been a while since I tested that, but the last time it was like, if they saw you were being lazy with it, they weren't going to show it to many people.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? Like, you're just pushing the same content everywhere, and your audience might be actually geographically or demographically different on Facebook to Instagram. Well, okay, then go through the effort and give them something different.
And you can actually get a lot more value. If people are following you in multiple places for different reasons, that can actually be a good thing. Once you master one platform and do the next one, like our followers on Twitter are mostly from Vegas and they love the Vegas Golden Knights. And so we post a little bit more Vegas Golden Knights content on there. Whereas, our Facebook page, a lot of our big champions are a little bit more local around here or Western Canadian. There's some of them there, but they get a little bit different flavor versus our Instagram is a little bit more of a mix, but we kind of know that people respond to different content in different places. And so if you're just copying and pasting to both places, then people have no reason to follow you in both, but it's kind of like, well, like, why?
Yep. I've got a selfish question because I just saw that Instagram is releasing a feature where it allows you to post to multiple accounts at the same time. So this is relevant to me because I operate the Shane Chapman account, and then we have the store account, the Ultimate Deck Shop account, which I also operate. And sometimes, like to promote this podcast, for example, I want to put it on both. And sometimes I stagger it so it's not showing up at the same time, whatever. But apparently it's already out for iOS. I've got Android, so I haven't seen it yet. But apparently there's an option to also post this to other accounts. And you can just check. So I could post to Shane Chapman with the click of a button, also post that to the Ultimate Deck Shop. Probably too new for you guys to have stats on, but do you think that that's going to get treated the same way, that there's going to be like a drop in engagement because you're just copying it over, even though it's the same platform?
Honestly, no idea. The fact that Instagram is bringing it in, it's filling some kind of need. But without testing, I have no idea.
Yeah. Probably what's going to happen is they're going to look at, okay, you're posting it to Shane Chapman and you're posting Ultimate Deck Shop. Well, let's look at how many people from the Ultimate Deck Shop engaged with it. Okay, some. So we'll push it out there. And they'll look at them individually, kind of like uniquely, and just see what's the engagement like. And that's all these social media algorithms care about is, are people engaging with it? If they are, we'll show it to more people. If they're not, we're going to show it to less people.
Yeah. Maybe not final. We might go off on a tangent here. But for those people that are walking away from this, what are we at? Hour-long podcast potentially here? And I've done a lot of learning and they're like, all right, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I want some more content. Who are your guys' influences? And I know some of them just from knowing you guys personally, but who would you recommend people get on board with and listen to on a daily/weekly basis?
The one guy that I probably would share would be Gary Vaynerchuk.
The Shane Chapman.
The Shane Chapman.
Gary Vaynerchuk does a good job. The reason I like him is because he talks high level a lot about big themes about human behavior and how we approach this stuff. But once in a while, if you listen to any of his podcasts, he'll actually get down to the tactics because he's always in the same stuff too, right? And that's what helps me out is going, oh, he tested this out and this is his response from it. And sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, you want to get someone's attention? DM 100 different people and maybe you'll get one back. Well, that's one more than you had before. But I know that you've met him and he's kind of your guru. So
yeah, I don't actually listen to many other people, and I don't listen to them as much as I used to. I go through phases where I need a little inspiration and new creative ideas, but I just find like YouTube for me is the gold mine for anything. If I want to learn something or I want to know about something, I just go to YouTube and punch it in, and I kind of live, eat, and sleep, breathe that, whether it's fixing a washing machine or changing something on my car or fixing a vacuum cleaner. Like everything's on there that you need. Resource, is just go there and type something in and start watching till you find somebody that you resonate with, and then just keep going. But more than anything is just use common sense and try something and try and take 5 minutes to measure or compare it to something else to see if it worked. And then try something else and try something else, because you're never going to find somebody who's speaking exactly to what you're doing. But especially if you'll invest in the Facebook ads platform, they'll be like, cool, do you want to ABCDE test this? Let's try 5 different audiences. Let's try females interested in this. Let's try males in this. Let's try this. And they'll run the ads for you and bring the results back to you and say, all right, we tried it 5 different ways. Like that's, to me, is kind of marketing 101. Try something, see if it worked.
Yeah, I like the idea where you guys said, don't be afraid to fail, right? Put it out. If it's a dud, it's a dud. Cut it, move on.
The Facebook ad agency he was talking about, they showed us this one ad, which, it looked ugly aesthetically, but they showed us the map to get there. Like this one worked, the ugly one worked. They had 160 different ads that they tested to try to noodle down to this one, which they would say, cracked the funnel, whereas they put money into this one and it paid money back. Yeah. But it takes a lot of work to get there. Like that's 159 failures to get to the right one.
Yeah.
So the interesting. So I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V fan as well, and one of the things he says is like kind of reiterates all the time is do as I do, not as I say. Like stop listening to me and go just watch what I'm doing because you'll learn more that way. And I think that's a good point because it's easy to go Google things, but because this social thing is changing so fast, you never know unless you're paying attention. If what you're reading is still relevant. It could be 6 months old and already not relevant.
Tons of that.
You go on there and be like, Instagram says, or whatever, joeblow.com says that you should have 30 hashtags on Instagram. And the next guy will say, well, actually 11 is the number nowadays, right? That post is 6 months old. And Gary Vaynerchuk is saying the same thing. He's like, I've got a team of people doing this. So if you see me change direction, if you see all of a sudden I'm not putting hashtags in my post, I'm putting them in the comments, or I've gone from 30 to 2, it's because we've noticed something. So just do what I do.
Absolutely.
Somebody had a great post. It was, what's the best time to post on social media, whether Instagram, Facebook, and a company basically aggregated from 30 different companies, all experts in the field, of the best time to post. And when they layered them all on top, they're like basically any time, because so-and-so said the best time was at 7. Next one was like 8. Next one was 9. Next one was 10. Next one was 11. And they literally had a different answer of different times for everything. But at the end of the day is if you create something that is interesting, people will watch it.
Just put it out there.
Just put it out and see what happens. Just try something.
It finds its way to the top if it's good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
And just throw stuff at the wall till it sticks. And when it sticks, try and figure out why it stuck and then keep going.
Yeah, that's right. You have way more chance of hitting a homer if you at bat 100 times versus one, right?
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Who's that? Jordan, right? He made the most shots of anybody in the NBA, right?
But took the most.
But he took the most. Yeah. He also missed the most, right?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about his misses.
Yeah.
Well, this is Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's the music guy, right? Michael B. Jordan.
Google him if you haven't heard of him.
There'll be stuff on YouTube. Look him up.
Yeah. It's been great, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to come down to our cozy little store here and share your wealth of information that you spent 2 years like right in it, and then a bunch of other years with experience, and now you're sharing it to everybody for nothing.
I promise we better at Rock Band.
I gave you a Coke. I gave you a Coke. That was your payment for this.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's $1.50 worth of information.
You should have taken the Coke. that I offer.
No, it's good. Now it's a volunteer thing, so.
Yeah. Where can these?
We owe you. And you gave more than you took.
Shoot.
Good for you.
I'm in debt. Shoot.
Where can everybody find you? Instagram, Facebook. What are your handles?
Any handle at Justin and Greg. If you put those in,
and Greg. Justin and Greg.
you'll find us.
Yeah, we have fun.
Yeah, tune into the show, you guys. It's great. Even if you're not from Regina, it's not it's not super local all the time. There's value there for people that aren't from here.
Actually,
Honestly.
our Facebook Live show we do every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central Time. We're actually working with Facebook's live team now. So more than ever, it's an international show.
93% of our audience is not from Saskatchewan. So yeah, we're trying to talk more about we talk about the weird, wild, fun things in the world. And when you comment, you get to be a part of the show. So
Yeah,
And
it's
potentially win a
super
prize
fun.
like a Nintendo Switch or AirPods or Beats headphones.
Yeah, I was sure I had it that one day.
We have a prize wheel now, so there's always
everybody's
a prize
going to
every
be
show.
winning sweet. We actually want to have a couple of bum prizes, but mostly good prizes.
Do you guys ship anywhere with these?
Yeah, no, anywhere probably in the world actually.
Yeah, we'll buy it off Amazon.
Holy smokes! There you go. You can win.
It's actually probably the easiest way to win something like high price like that. If you want AirPods and you want to win it, you probably have a 1 in 200 chance.
Well, the night that I was watching your show, I think you guys there was about 100 people actively on there when you were doing the giveaway for the Switch. And I was like, I've got a 1 in 100 chance.
That's a pretty good chance.
That's pretty good odds.
But now that the 10,000 people listening to this podcast hear about it, it may be slightly better.
Expect
but, good.
expect to Grant Cardone 10x yourselves after this.
I like that.
So
Yeah, good.
awesome. Okay, thanks guys so much for tuning in. You guys go out there and follow Justin and Greg. They're doing some great things. Someday you're going to see their faces on something bigger than this show. So it'll be interesting to follow their journey.
Watch Jimmy Fallon.
Watch. Oh boy, teaser. See you later. Have a good week.